Hi everyone. Yeah, I need to pull your attention in here. My name is Mark. Awesome to be with you. Man, from the noise that was around this room, there was certainly been some stories on boats out there. My own story would be, I immediately think of one when I was fishing off the coast of Tauranga many years ago with my sister. We went with someone else's boat. We were with them, and the wind changed, and we had to get back to shore fast. And man, the waves were huge, and in every wave we went over, we went up and slammed down the other side. So much so, if you were sitting down, you would have just wrecked your back. So we had to stand the whole time. And every time it crashed, you had to brace your legs. And after a while, your legs got tired. And my sister got to the point where she couldn't hold herself up. Her legs were so tired. And I was actually having to hold her on the back of her jeans. And every time we went over, hold myself. Man, I thought we were going to die that day. But as you can see, I at least got back to shore. So, yeah, actually my sister did too. So that was a good thing. Hey, in our story today, we've got a bunch of wind, we've got water, and people being scared pretty witless as well. And as I hear that story, though, I think the story was included in the Bible not because of those things, but it was about the person of Jesus who comes onto the boat and comes out onto the water and causes us to ask the question of who is actually Jesus and what's he all about. And the story, as you may have noticed, it comes to a high point when Jesus actually utters his very first words. He says, "Don't be afraid, take courage, I am here." Don't be afraid, take courage, I am here. And he's reassuring them in the midst of what's been quite an impressive feat as he's come out to them walking on water. Now, if you could walk on water, that'd be a pretty cool party trick to have, wouldn't it? If you could do that on a regular basis. And people have been trying to do it ever since Jesus did it. But really, the walking on water isn't the point of Jesus' story. He actually is showing who he is. He's the Son of God. He's the Messiah. He's this one sent by God. And now, you may have heard that story many times. And sometimes when you hear these stories, we get so familiar that we actually just miss all that's going on. And hopefully today, even in the retelling of it, you've been re-engaged with the story. You've started to think more about who is this Jesus that calms the wind and walks on water. And so we're in this little story in Mark chapter 6. And I'd like to say to you today that I think if you were to read this story through, which we've done, there's lots of little details in that story that the writer of Mark puts in there so that you and I can go, did you notice that? I wonder what that actually is there for. And Mark always includes things for a reason. And so we're going to retell the little story again and think about some of those details and learn about who this person is in Jesus. Now, I've got a few posters over here, and I need some people to help me tell our story today. I need one person. I've had a bunch of people on the front row who have been up here a lot, so I'd really like to have some new kids. Are there any kids over this side who haven't been up yet that would like to come and hold a poster for me? All right, come on up. All right, give them a welcome. Oh, we've got two boys. All right, excellent. All right, okay, first one. What's your name, Elijah? So, Eli, hey Eli. Okay, if you just hold that for us, and that's cool. All right, thank you. All right, and we're going to have you grab a seat on one of these logs here for a minute. All right, so our first point about Jesus is that he sees. Now, when I say he sees, Eli, I want you to hold that up high. So just hold it up. He sees. Yeah, that's right. And then you can bring it back down. All right, so that's like a little action that you can do if I say that he sees. All right, so fantastic. So the story actually starts off slowly where Jesus is on the shore and he sends his disciples off, and it feels like it's actually the story's winding down, but in fact, things are about to wind up because the disciples head off in the boat, Jesus goes up on the mountain to pray, and as the night wears on, they're in the midst of a a storm and the wind is against them. And it says this, it says they were straining at the oars because the wind was against them. And they thought that Jesus couldn't see them, but in fact, he sees. Excellent, well done. In fact, he sees. Oh, do you get the second time? He sees. You missed it. Come on, quick. He sees. Yes, excellent. All right. And so he saw that they were in serious trouble. You see, even in their aloneness out on that boat, out on that lake, they felt like Jesus had abandoned them, but Jesus was seeing them all the way from the shore. And I wonder, there's often those places in life where we've experienced rowing for all we're worth in life and feeling like we're getting nowhere. You ever felt like that in life? Rowing for all you're worth, but getting nowhere. And sometimes in those moments we think that Jesus is far from us. And this little story of Jesus watching them from the shore shows to us that he sees us. Thanks, Eli. Well done. Yeah. So I just love you guys just getting back in those pairs that you were in just a moment ago, and think, what's a place in your life right now where you might be feeling like you're rowing for all you're worth, but getting nowhere? Perhaps it could be like you're looking for a new job, hunting hard, and it feels like it's just going nowhere. You don't have to share all the deepest things in life, but maybe there's something that you'd be happy to share with the person beside you. And perhaps it's just the busyness of life is just wearing you down. Okay? Jump in those groups, and we'll come back in 30 seconds, and you'll have a chance to share. All right, if you stand there with that. Just stand over here. That's cool. You take that. You can hold that. If you just hold that there. Okay, for a few more minutes. All right, thanks everyone. Let me grab your attention. Now we've got Taylor over here. Taylor, can you come and hold the next one for us? All right. This is Taylor. So the second thing that Jesus shows us is that he gives strength. He gives strength. Thanks, boys. And so Eli, if you want to just face that way just a little bit. There we go. Nicely displayed. Now remember, Taylor, when I say he gives strength, what do you want to do? Yeah, excellent. That's very good. So in the story, it's pretty crazy. Jesus waits most of the night before he comes out on the water to essentially come and rescue them. He waits until the darkest hour of the night. You might have heard that expression, it's always darkest before dawn. And so in the darkness, Jesus comes out to them on the water. Now, we read it in the Bible and we think, well, this never happened to me. And believe me, it was not an everyday experience for the disciples either. In fact, when Jesus shows up, they think he's a ghost and they cry out in terror. And Jesus comes with those special words. He says, "Don't be afraid, take courage, I am here." I love that urging of Jesus to take courage. We don't often find that put like that in the Bible, but he says, take courage. And the taking of courage is not simply something that they drum up in themselves. It's because Jesus is there. Sometimes we drum ourselves up with courage, right, I'm going to do this, and it's self-determination, and we build ourselves up. But here we see Jesus is saying, take courage because I am here. The very presence of Jesus with us is the one who gives us courage. And so sometimes courage, we try and drum it up from within. here it is from Jesus himself. And I'm really glad for that, because the longer I live, the more I realize that I haven't got the smarts, I haven't got the cunning, I haven't got the skills, I haven't got the good luck on my side. In fact, I will stumble and fall so many times. But when I take courage because I know that Jesus is there, I actually know he's the one who's able to help me in my times of need. So even in those moments of self-doubt, those moments when we don't think we can carry on, we need to remember that he gives strength. Oh, excellent, Taylor. He gives strength, and so we can depend on him in those very moments. So he sees, he gives strength. All right, excellent. And I need one more volunteer. One more volunteer on this side. Florence, can you come on up? Just give her a hand. Not because it's Florence, but also because we've finally got a girl up on the stage here. Awesome. If you could hold that. And what does it say? He provides. He provides. It's quite a moment for the disciples as they are out on this roller coaster of emotions, the exhaustion of rowing all night long. Here they are, then the terror of thinking they've seen a ghost, the wind's against them, everything seems like it's going dire, but we find that he provides. Excellent, Florence. And so this is no ordinary moment. In verse 51 it says this, it says, then he climbed into the boat and the wind stopped, and they were totally amazed. And yet even in this moment, when Jesus calms the wind, he seems far more interested in who they think he is than about the calming of the wind. Have you noticed in that story that they calms the wind, and instead they seem terrified by his presence rather than reassured. You know, even in his provision to them, he's wanting them to learn about who he is and to trust in him. And I'm not convinced that they got it that day. The story doesn't seem to indicate that they understood. But for us today, I think it's put in the Bible so that we would understand. We would understand that Jesus is the one who does provide. He provides. Thanks, Florence. Excellent. Quick little up there. You see, the same Jesus who calms the wind is the same Jesus who feeds the 5,000, who heals the sick. He's also the one, though, who allows John the Baptist to be beheaded, and he calls us to follow him all the way to the cross. We will find that Jesus is brutally killed. And so in providing for us, it doesn't mean that he's always going to fix the very problem that we're in, but often he allows us to go through those problems and to journey with Jesus, knowing that he's there with us. And in those moments, he will provide what we need. Well, the way Jesus provides for us is as varied as he does in the Gospels. But we continue to hear his words to us. Don't be afraid. Take courage. I am here. He sees, he gives strength, and he provides. Right, one last one. Is there another girl? Where am I? Yes, come on up. Oh, who have we got here? No. Jenny. Emily, come on up. Give her a hand. Right, this is to trust him. Now, here's the lesson for the story. And when I say trust him, what are you going to do, Emily? Excellent. Trust him, that's right. Did you notice about their response to the miracle of Jesus? This is what it says. It says they were totally amazed, for they still didn't understand the significance of the miracle of the loaves. Their hearts were too hard to take it in. Apparently, the lesson of the feeding of the 5,000 and the lesson of the calming of the storm is the same lesson that we're supposed to understand. And it's all about who Jesus is. You see, just as God provided manna in the wilderness for the Israelites so many years ago, so he provided bread on a grassy hill for the 5,000. Just as God was the one who parted the Red Sea and took his people through on dry land to the other side, so he would calm the storm and take the disciples to the other side. Just as Jesus would say, I am here. He spoke the very words of God himself, who identified himself as the great I am. And Jesus said, I am here. And so he calls on us to realize that Jesus himself is the Son of God, the Messiah of the world, and he is the one, and we are to trust him. Yeah. You see, the man who climbed into the boat with the disciples was God in the flesh. He was God come down to earth, fully God and fully man, and yet they had not learnt the lesson. Their hearts were hardened to him. And so I wonder for us this morning, how are our hearts towards Jesus? Are our hearts hard like the disciples, suspicious, unwilling, confused? Or are we responsive in our hearts to the person of Jesus and recognize that he is the one who is with us? He sees, he gives strength, he provides, and so we are to trust him. Hear the words of Jesus this morning. Don't be afraid. Take courage. I am here. Thanks, kids. If you want to give them a round of applause, if you guys want to just pop those down on the stage there. Thank you, guys. Chocolate. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Stephen, what's going on here? Have we got more goodies? Oh, look at that. It appears. You never know when you rip these whether you need to go which way, do you? Here we go. Take a crunch sheet. Thanks, Taylor. It'll be dangerous to throw that to the front row, I reckon. Hey, well, to hear a little bit more about what it looks like to take courage, we've actually got a couple of young women from the Off the Grid team. And so let me come over here. I'd just love to ask you guys the question. This is Leonie from Germany. Do you want to stand up, Leonie? Well, welcome to Hope Church, and thanks for being willing just to share a little bit of your life today. Can I ask you, when was a time where knowing Jesus, when he gave you courage?
It was in February this year. I had an oral exam in university, and I was really nervous and had a lot of fear in the morning, and so I did my morning prayer, and just were asking Jesus that he take away my fear. And then I was remember about the verse I was thinking about during this time. I just want to read it because I don't know the English translation. It's in 2 Timothy, and there it says, God's Spirit doesn't make cowards out of us. The Spirit gives us power, love, and self-control. And so I was proclaiming this verse about my life, about the day, about the exam. And I went to the exam, and when I went into the room where the exam started, I got self-confident and such a peace in my heart. And I did the exam, and after that I had to go out of the room, and they were discussing about my grade. And I wasn't praying for a good grade. I was just praying that Jesus takes away the fear. And I came back into the room, and they congratulated me and said, yeah, you did it. And I got a really good grade. I was so happy. But the greatest thing was the professor added, Miss, I was so impressed about you because you were so fearless. And he really used the word fearless. And I was, oh, wow, Jesus was really here.
Thank you, Leonie. Thank you for sharing, and you spoke beautifully too. So, and now this is Salome. Salome, when's a moment in life? You're from Switzerland, aren't you? Yes. When's a moment in life where Jesus gave you courage?
My story is also from school. When I was still in high school, I just got into a new class and met some new friends, and then I really had the feeling that I should tell them about my faith. But I was like, oh, I know them like only for a short time, and then I didn't do it. But then one night I had this dream, And in this dream, I was talking with two of my friends, and I talked about Jesus. Yeah, and then the next morning, I woke up and it was a really nice dream, because normally I don't dream like things like this. Usually my dreams are just nonsense. And then I went to school, and at lunchtime, I was exactly with these two friends of my dream, and we ate together. And then all of a sudden, one of them asked me, "What do you believe?" Because I wore a Christian bracelet, and yeah, then we had a really good conversation, and I could tell them about my faith. And I really felt calm and prepared, because I actually had the conversation already in my dream before. And yeah, it was really encouraging to see how he prepares us, and he would never ask us to do something that we can't do, or that he just helps us. And yeah.
Thank you, Salome. Thank you very much. Actually, just listening to your stories just reminds me that we all have those stories in life, don't we? We all have those places where God has drawn near to us, and He's empowered us, enabled us to do those things because He is with us. And so our encouragement to this morning is to remember Jesus is with you, so to take courage. Yeah, let me hand over to Tim and the team there.